Hello, everybody. My name is Pastor Gord Clark. These are our new PAUSE midweek devotionals. Wednesdays, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Glad you're with us. And we're going to be doing devotionals every week just to take a moment midweek and just pause for a minute and listen to what the Spirit of God is saying to us. And just hopefully, from our perspective, giving you a little bit of encouragement. We're going to go through the Bible book by book and take a character each week or a thought each week from the particular book. So we thought the best place to start, of course, would be the book of Genesis. So we're going to look at Joseph. And you'll find the story of Joseph in chapters 37 through 50 of the book of Genesis. And we want you to, of course, read the chapters for yourself, because we're not going to just simply read 13 chapters to you. But what we want to do is we want to show you that there have been times, in this particular, our initial pause devotional, where there were pauses in the life of Joseph. So the truth is, in a very young age, Joseph was given dreams. In those dreams, he had authority over all of his older brothers who were in the dreams going to bow down before him. Of course, when he shared this with his brothers, they were thrilled about it. No, they weren't. They were not thrilled at all. In fact, it got so bad that they decided that they were going to throw their brother into a cistern. And the oldest brother, Reuben, wanted to make sure that Joseph was actually safe. But by the time he got back, the other brothers had sold Joseph into slavery. After he got into Egypt, he was placed as a slave into the house of Potiphar. There was one of the military people under Pharaoh. Potiphar's wife decided that she really liked him and wanted him to have sex with her, and he rejected her. And yet, even with his rejection, because he was a slave and had no rights, was falsely accused, and he became a prisoner. But as a prisoner, he was shown favor by the guards for his wisdom, for other things, like interpreting dreams. The king had a dream, didn't know what to do. So he asked if anybody could interpret. They said no, but there is this Jewish person, this Jewish prisoner named Joseph, who could interpret the dream. Joseph does exactly that as he's brought into the king's court. The king is so enamored with the character of Joseph that he makes him premier. So he's gone from being a prisoner to a premier. In other words, the second in command in all of Egypt. And he winds up being a provider for his family. They come to Egypt during famine, hoping that they can find some kind of help, some kind of food, generosity. Joseph recognizes who they are, gives them a couple of series of tests. And again, read it. It's an amazing story. Eventually, the family comes. And eventually, Joseph reveals to them that he is their brother. Now, they've already bowed down before this ruler of Egypt. But when they recognize it, they don't know if they're going to be killed. But Joseph instead says, no, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to provide for you. And he did. Friends, all of these moments, these pauses, if you will, as the dreamer, as the slave, as a prisoner, as a premier, as a provider, all were moments, pauses for Joseph. Now, you may be wondering why I do what I do. Maybe this is the very first time you've ever seen me or seen anything to do with Dynes Pentecostal Online Church Canada. Well, I'm the pastor. I've had lots of pause moments in my life, so to speak. But a few years back, I was asking the Lord to give me some direction scripturally. I was in a moment of pause myself, and I came across Psalm 71. Let me read verses 15 and 16 that's on the screen. I will tell everyone about your righteousness. All day long I will proclaim your saving power, though I'm not skilled with words. I've never professed being the greatest orator, but I will praise your mighty deeds. O sovereign Lord, I will tell everyone that you alone are just. Friends, that's where I have come to in my life through the very many pauses of my life. Verse 17 says, O God, you have taught me from my earliest childhood. You see, I had the blessing, literally, of being born on a Sunday and in church the following Sunday, and I spent my life in the church. That's why even as an online church, we are absolutely for the local church. Oh God, you've taught me from my earliest childhood, and I constantly tell others about the wonderful things you do. And that is how I have spent my life. You say, but aren't you older now? Yes, of course. But look at this verse. Verse 18 says, now that I am old and gray, and there's a lot of gray, do not abandon me, O God. Let me proclaim your power to this new generation. You see, you don't have to stop talking into the next generation. But what you have to do as a pastor, as a leader, church leader, you have to realize that God has something for this new generation, starting with what he had for us in our generation, which is his salvation, his love, his grace, his faithfulness. And it says here in the verse, your mighty miracles. To proclaim your power to this new generation, your mighty miracles to all who come after me. And friends, as long as God gives me breath, that's what I intend to do. Whatever form it takes, I've had many different areas of ministry. I've sang, preached in the back of flatbed trucks. I stood on a corner in Scotland and proclaimed the gospel with music. I've been in Israel. I've been in a couple other countries in Africa. But friends, none of that matters. What matters is that I had the opportunity, and I took the opportunity to declare to the generation I was speaking to then and to the generation I'm speaking to now the faithfulness, the mighty miracles of the God that I serve, and the God that loves every generation, including this generation. So what do I think about this new idea of our pause devotionals? Well, this is what I want to lay down as our foundation. For the follower of Jesus, I believe that pauses of preparation are given to us by God for his purpose. There are pauses of preparation for purpose. One more time. Pauses of preparation for purpose. Now hear me clearly. Perhaps those pauses of preparation for purpose are for here and now. But whether they are or whether they are not, they are always for eternity. My brother that I love dearly is facing the reality of his mortality. And he knows that unless God heals him physically, he's going to go to be with Jesus. When? I don't know exactly. He doesn't know exactly. But he has cancer. But I know this as well, that he knows and loves Jesus. And he can say, and would say if you were talking to him, Philippians 1:21, for me to live is Christ, to die is gain. Friends, that's the reality for the true follower of Jesus. My brother's living each moment. Whatever moment he has, he's living it for the Lord. And friends, for him to live as Christ, to die as gain. Does that mean it doesn't hurt? Of course not. Not just him, obviously him most of all, and his wife, and his children, and us, his family. If you haven't been with us on our Sunday stream, you can watch our Sunday stream, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on our YouTube channel. My brother-in-law just went to be with Jesus. Friends, we don't have that ability to say when we are going to die and be with Jesus. So we need to live passionately, declaring God's love and God's greatness, God's faithfulness, God's mercy, salvation that can be found in Jesus every day. Living in such a way that we're prepared to go to be with Jesus. And we're prepared to live for Jesus now. In our lives, we have times to look at as either periods, pauses. For the follower of Jesus, it's all about the perspective we choose to take, which I believe is that these are pauses of preparation for purpose. They are the pauses of preparation for purpose. So, pause. Take a moment. Right now. Pause. Take a moment right now. And listen. Listen to what the Holy Spirit is saying to you. Take a moment right now. Pause. And listen to what the Holy Spirit is saying to you.